Yes, yeah.
He had COVID, recovered, then died 3 weeks later from a heart attack. Right? Talk to him every day. One of my best friends. He came to me in my dream New Year's night. So I was sleeping New Year's night, and the dream that I had, he was there, and this was over a course of like multiple scenes. So he was there physically, like I'm talking to Joseph right here, right? The first scene I remember, we were at the funeral home. He was in the casket, but he was also standing next to me, and I'm like, well, how are you here if you're in there? And I don't remember a lot of the context of our conversation, but I remember it transitioning back to here in the studio, and I was giving him a tour of the studio and kind of showing him what he's missed. And I remember him telling me that he was like proud of me and stuff.
Yeah, that's a beautiful encounter, man. And some of them are just that straightforward where, you know, one thing I recommend for people always when you're interpreting anything is you have to let go of the constraints of Western thinking, where A is B is C. You know, whether it's interpreting Ifa or something like this, I always tell people you have to let go and understand that things are not linear here. You know, it could be B, G, F, you know? Yeah. So with a situation like what you saw with Dad, it's interesting. He made it very clear to show you the dichotomy between the body and the soul, you know, where it would lead me to believe, hey, you know, it was a traumatic thing. We lost somebody that was really important to us, but one aspect of them, you know, is in the casket, but the other aspect is spiritual and always with us. So that might be a lasting message he wanted to give you, that, you know, I'm always right there. And I remember when I actually saw his spirit at the Botánica one time and I described him to you, and you're like, yo, that's my dad, you know, so that was wild too. And then, you know, just the fact that, you know, you guys were together here in the studio and things like that, and he had such a big role in your progress, you know, within production and, you know, radio and all the different things that you're involved in, and ultimately podcasting. He's still here, you know, and he still wants to be a part of it. And, you know, me and Erica always joke that you have a spirit that tells you which shorts to make, because somehow it always applies to somebody that day. So we we think you have a gift that day. I'm not sure if you noticed, on every short, someone will be like, man, I was just thinking about this today. And and we'll be like, there goes Phil again. You know what I'm saying? So just the perks you add that aren't listed in the contract. Cool. So, you know, we appreciate it. And
that's cool.
Erica too, man. Erica, she's a dreamer, and she had a really incredible dream a year after her father passed away, you know. I didn't get the pleasure or honor of meeting my father-in-law. And it's one of the things that bothers me a bit. You know, there's a few great men that I never had a chance to shake their hand or give them a hug, and he's one of them. You know, people like my grandfather, Rafael, as well. I never got a chance to meet him. And you hear about these men and how they were larger than life, and they were just providers and there for their family, and they were loved, you know? Yeah. And he's really a huge reason, or the reason, why me and Erica are together, because I actually met Erica working her father's funeral rites, or his honras, right? So
really,
yeah. And I remember as we're in our relationship and we're getting to know each other more, she reveals to me that a year after he passed away, she had a dream on his death anniversary, and he came to her and he basically walked her through heaven. And, you know, he was like, this is the different plane, you know, there's no pain here, it's wonderful here. You know, you guys are actually on the most underdeveloped plane, you know, where people, it's like heaven looks at our 3-dimensional plane as not necessarily purgatory, but this is like probation. Like, we're here to get better. Like, this is not the end all, you know. Heaven is right here and hell is right here. We can experience happiness and sadness, but ultimately we're here to get better, because if we're going through all this pain and all these struggles, it's because we have things to work out in our character, so that when we do transition into energy, we're able to elevate. You know, I have this new joke where I say, you know, at this point within my career within Ifa, or as a man in this world, I'm just trying to build my resume to become a celestial 𝗷𝗸𝗍. Like, I really just want to stay in heaven and study Ifa and, like, you know, maybe do 𝗹𝗶𝗸𝗲 orishas. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm thinking about the future at this point, apart from what we got going on down here. Because that's really the goal, is we don't want to reincarnate. We don't want to have to come back here. You know, there's a lot of, you know, enjoyable things here, but, you know, when you look at the pain that we have to go through sometimes, is it really worth it? And for me, I think not, other than parenthood, of course. And he said something that was very critical in that dream, where he said, "Hey, you're gonna have more kids." And at that point, you know, me and Erica weren't together, and you know, she was like, you know, I'm not having no more kids, and you know, she met me, and we got motivated, and you know, to have our children was quite a hurdle, you know, with fertility and things like that. And ironically, it ended up being kids, because I thought it was just gonna stop with Loli, because I was like, all right, I made one, you know, thank God. And you know, and then Robert, you know, found his way in there, Bob, and I named him after his late grandfather. You know, so it was really, really ironic, you know, and it was actually the first child within the family that actually held his name. So it was very important for me, being that he was a brother 𝗏𝗏𝗏. But once again, the impact of dreams. And, you know, everybody has these kind of stories.